The Bulembu Airport in the Eastern Cape is hosting this year's International Civil Aviation Day celebrations. The aerodrome is situated in the Bulembu village, just outside Bisho, and that's where we find our reporter, Siphosethu Booi, who's there for us this afternoon. Siphosethu, good afternoon to you. What have been the Minister's reflections on this International Civil Aviation Day?
Well, good afternoon to you, Clement, and to the rest of our viewers. The weather truly has been, a spoiler for the residents as well as these young pupils who came out in their numbers to come and see the air show. I think if there's one thing many, learners from around as well as the residents were looking forward to was seeing the air show. But because of the weather conditions, that could not happen. And of course, there's only one helicopter outside. I'm sure you can hear it now. But I think if there's one thing that many of the residents, including those learners, took out was the many possibilities as far as the job careers are concerned within the aviation industry. And of course, Minister now of Transport, Sindisiwe Chikunga, joins us now. Mama, thank you very much for making time to speak to us this afternoon. Amongst the many things you spoke about today was also the importance of today and why it was important for the department to bring the celebrations to the Bulembu Airport in specific. Please speak to us also more about, the direction that the Department of Transport and government as a whole seeks to, take as far as making aviation accessible to the world as well as these young people of this particular area in particular.
No, thank you very much. South Africa is a member state to ICAO, which is Civil Aviation Organization and a specialized entity for United Nations. We've been a member since 1944 when ICAO was formed, and therefore we are one of the founder member countries. The theme for this year says advancing innovation for global aviation development. This is the theme that comes from the ICAO itself. And the South Africa and the member state, ICAO having declared the 7th of December as the International Civil Aviation Day, we therefore celebrate the day and commemorate the day. But we then take stock of where we're coming from and where we are and where we want to go. And we look at quite a number of issues, including transformation, including gender equity, including the development of the infrastructure of our aviation, how we've fared in audits that have actually happened, how we have fared in ensuring that we grow the number of passengers. For instance, we're coming from COVID, whether we're recovering as aviation in South Africa, because if there's one sector that was hard hit by COVID, is aviation. So we're looking at all those issues, and we can be very happy to say that we're recovering much faster than some of the other states. We're doing very well when it comes to audit by the ICAO, or even whether we are audited by US, for instance, other countries, and whether we are looking at gender issues. We think we're doing very well. Where we're not doing well is ensuring that we bring other racial groups, particularly in the area of pilots. Yes, in the area of pilots. But when it comes to air traffic controllers, for instance, we are on par. We have ensured that we've improved that one, we have transformed that area, and we have the best air traffic controllers that we are training in South Africa in our academy. With the pilots, we're putting some measures in place. We're sending them to our academies in South Africa that are producing the best airports pilots in the world, but we're also sending them to other countries or universities in other parts of the world. Like, for instance, we've sent some to France, 5, and then we've sent 8 this year. We can only do that number because it's not cheap, it's expensive, but we think it's worth it. And that is why, therefore, we're saying we're beginning to see some transformation when it comes to pilots at a snail pace, but we're getting there.
Mama, the career exhibition is targeting school learners. Is a fantastic initiative, I must say. Now, how do you believe exposure to the aviation sector can impact and benefit the future workforce? And also, what opportunities do you hope to highlight for young learners?
There is no aviation without the youth of today, because it's them who must take over and be pilots and be air traffic controllers, be aeronautical engineers, mechanics, and whatever else that you see as carriers in the aviation sector. And that is why we're coming here to say to them, because you may not be that exposed to this sector, we're bringing it to you. We're bringing these carrier choices that are there to yourselves through the experts that are here in attendance, the exhibition that we have seen, giving them all the information, telling them about the challenges that are there, the successes that we have made. So we are hoping that from here there will be young people who will be interested in some of the carriers in the transport sector. We've got a lot of cabin crew members, but we don't want to end there. We want to see many young women being pilots. We already have women pilots, but they're not enough. So we want to see them choosing that as well. We want to see many women air traffic controllers. They are there in numbers. We want to increase the numbers, because we're not only training for South Africa, our air traffic controllers, for instance, even pilots, they get absorbed by other airlines in the world. And of course, we want to be the first to take them. If we have access, of course, anyone can take them. And we're happy about that.
And lastly, in what ways, of course, as the Department of Transport aim to leverage these events to address challenges and foster innovation within the aviation industry? And are there any specific initiatives or strategies in place to enhance the sector's growth, as well as the issue of inclusivity, as you correctly stated earlier?
When it comes to issues of ensuring that we adhere, for instance, to recommended standards and to standards and recommended practices as set by ICAO, we have the regulator. So anyone must adhere to the rules as set out by the regulator in South Africa. You always hear when you are in the aircraft saying you must do this in terms of the South African Civil Aviation Act. And that is the regulator that sets those standards. They set the standards of safety, the standards of security in the aviation sector. And any airline, anyone who is in that sector must adhere by that. The issue of growing the aviation in South Africa is a big one. For instance, we've got the 8 airports that are owned by AXA. But we do want to see the municipality-owned airports being developed as well, so that it is easy to fly from Johannesburg to Pietermaritzburg, for instance. That is a municipality airport. It's not an AXA airport. To fly to Richards Bay, for instance, that is a municipality airport. It's not. And therefore to fly to Bishwa as well, so that it is a municipality or a provincial-owned airport, but there are airlines that fly to it, which will make life easier, so that you don't have to fly to East London and drive 2 hours to here. You don't have to fly to Mthatha like I did and drive so many hours to here. You fly direct to here because we are coming here and there is an airport. So there must be airlines that are ready to take up such routes, and we are actually looking into that. How can that be done? If you've got many airlines that are competing, because then they will take these routes. If the airlines are fewer, then they will always compete because of their numbers with those major routes like your Durban, your Cape Town, Johannesburg, and all that. And that is why we are saying aviation is not for some, it is for anyone and for everyone. And that is what we want to see happening. We want to grow our airports so that we see the Aerotropolis, the Johannesburg, the OR Tambo, has to be a mega airport and a city by itself. And this is what we talk when we talk about Aerotropolis. And that is one thing that we want to see happening, so that it happens in South Africa like it is happening in other countries, UAE, for instance. And that is what we want to see happen.
Minister, lastly, the air show can't happen today because of the weather. The Minister did mention something about coming back next year to bring that air show. Please put it on record, Ma'am.
Indeed, if it doesn't happen, what makes ICAT an ICAT day is then the air show, because at least the people here must see what the gliding, the flying, the this and that. And if it can't happen today, definitely we have got to come back. We can't go to another province without the air show having had taken place here. So if it doesn't happen, as I think it will not happen, we'll have to come back to here and probably look at the correct timing to say which time is better without rain and so on and so forth, even if it means considering winter.
Minister Chikunga, thank you very much for making time to speak to us. The minister there just giving us a wrap of the important day today. And right behind me, I do see some pilots. And of course, Clement, speaking to some of the parents who were also in attendance, they did make mention of the fact that today was quite a fruitful day for them as a family, including those grade 12 learners, because some of them are going to be, going to study next year. So now the opportunity today and the expo and what it has given them is that they saw some of these pilots, these young people that you see right in front of you right now, saying that they're now interested in wanting to look into the aviation sector as far as the career opportunities are concerned within that sector. Clement.
Siphosethu, Booi, thank you.